When you're coming back into your sport after an injury, it's natural to feel nervous, and it might take some time for you to get back to being aggressive on the ice. Our physical readiness doesn't always match up with our psychological readiness coming back into our sport. So right now, you don't need to worry about being aggressive and going full throttle. Right now, you need to meet yourself where you're at.
Welcome to the Injured Athletes Club podcast, the show that helps athletes cope with sports injuries and bounce back stronger. I'm journalist Cindy Kuzma.
And I'm mental skills coach Carrie Jackson. We're sorry you're here, but we're glad you're with us.
This week, it's another Q&A episode where Coach Carrie uses her expertise in mental performance and in injury recovery to answer a question from one of you, our listeners. But before she does, she wants to share another helpful resource with you.
Yes, we thought this would be the perfect episode to share with you our resource, which is Mental Rehab, an introduction to mental training for injured athletes. It's a resource you can grab on buymeacoffee.com/rebound. And when you go there, you click on extras and you can see we have all kinds of stuff there. But this one in particular is a really great resource if you're in the place of the listener question we're going to answer today. So, if you've ever been injured before, you know that sometimes your body is healed before your confidence is. And sometimes our physical readiness is not matching up with our psychological readiness. And so this course is a great thing to help support your mental recovery and your mental rehab as you're doing your physical therapy and your physical rehab. So definitely head over there and check it out. And you can grab that course for only $29.
That is quite a deal, Coach Carrie. Another great deal is a discount code we have for you for the Lever System. So this season of the Injured Athletes Club is brought to you by Lever Movement, the creators of the Lever System. The Lever System is a portable, lightweight device that attaches to a treadmill and reduces your body weight. That means less impact on your joints so you can come back from injury, or it might even help you prevent getting hurt in the first place. You can use it at home or take it to the gym where you can set it up in less than 2 minutes on a treadmill there. Use code INJURED20 to get 20% off any device at levermovement.com. So don't forget to check out Lever today and take your training to the next level. Okay, Coach Carrie, it is time now for this week's question, and this one comes from listener Caitlyn. Caitlyn says, "My surgery was a success. Hooray. And my doctors have given me the go-ahead to play again next season. But it's been over a decade since my initial injury happened and I needed to hang up my skates. So I've been sidelined now for 11 years. I was always a really aggressive player, and I've never been one to shy away from a confrontational situation on the ice. But after my injury, I'm worried that I'll be too nervous to really dig in and go full throttle when it comes to checking or anything that brings me too close to the boards. I desperately want to play again, but I know myself well enough to know that I'm going to get incredibly frustrated and angry if I'm not able to play at the same caliber that I'm used to. Can you help me with the mental block I'm experiencing around returning to my sport?"
Oh, thank you, Caitlyn, for submitting your question to the podcast. And first of all, I'm so glad to hear that your surgery was a success and that you've been given the green light to play again next season. I'm sure the idea of playing again next season feels both exciting and overwhelming at the same time. One thing I really want to commend you on is how well you know yourself. It's important to be able to be honest with ourselves about how we'll respond in situations. So I love that you shared the fact that you know yourself well enough to know that you're going to get frustrated and angry if you can't play at the same caliber that you were playing before. So that's an important thing to address, right? So, and I really appreciated that part of your question that you shared that. I think one of the things that immediately comes to mind is how important it will be for you to be patient with your progress. Because the truth is you might not feel the same way that first moment you get back on the ice, and that's okay. I want to demonstrate sort of some of the challenges of what you're facing right now by sharing a little story, a personal story. So once upon a time, many years ago, I was a rock climber, and it was a significant part of my life. Every year I took multiple week-long rock climbing trips to Joshua Tree National Park. I also went on multiple road trips across the country, hitting different climbing spots along the way. And I lived in South Lake Tahoe for a few years and climbed there as well. So for about a decade, it was a very big part of my life. And I got pretty decent at it. I got pretty good at it. And I loved it. It was so much fun. And then I decided to go to graduate school, and rock climbing just naturally fell out of my life. And fast forward from that moment, fast forward about 15 years, and I decided to try out climbing again. I was missing it, and I was looking for something to do. And I was like, all right, I want to like test the waters and see how I feel about climbing now. And I started going to a climbing gym, which I wasn't really doing before. I was just sort of exclusively, well, that's not true. I was mostly climbing outside and just a little bit in the gym. So after that 15-year break, I went to the climbing gym and immediately remembered how much I love to climb and how fun it is. And I just jumped both feet in. And I could tell I didn't have the same climbing strength I once did, but it felt so good. And my athlete self felt like I was the same exact climber that I was 15 years earlier. So on like only my third or fourth trip to the gym, I decided to go for a harder climb. And I got near, so long story short, I got near to the top of the route, and it had this like overhang move that I knew was going to be hard. And I knew I probably couldn't do it, but I just wanted to go for it. I was just having so much fun. And I had just a brief moment's hesitation and thought, I wonder if this is a good idea. That lasted about a half a second. And then I threw caution to the wind and went for it. And I did it. I made the move, and it was amazing. And then I heard a pop in my shoulder. And I had no business making that move at all. But the climber in me wanted to be the same climber I was at the height of my sport. And so I give myself grace, Cindy, because it was before we wrote the book Rebound. So I feel like I just, I wanted that move so bad. And that's our athletic identity, right? So sometimes when we go back into our sport after a significant break, there's a part of our brain that thinks we're the same athlete we were before and wants to re-enter our sport in the exact same place we were. But you aren't the same athlete you were before. I wasn't the same climber that I was before. And that's not a bad thing. That's just a fact. So it's really important to recognize that this is where you're at. And sometimes that's really hard on our athletic identity. You have to be patient with the process and trust that you can rebuild the fitness and the skill again. When you're coming back into your sport after an injury, it's natural to feel nervous, and it might take some time for you to get back to being aggressive on the ice. Our physical readiness doesn't always match up with our psychological readiness coming back into our sport. So right now, you don't need to worry about being aggressive and going full throttle. Right now, you need to meet yourself where you're at. So there are two things that immediately come to mind to me in order to help you to do that, to meet yourself where you're at. And the first one is to do some formal goal setting and set goals for yourself based on where you are right now in this moment. And I actually have a free mini goal setting crash course. And we could put a link into the show notes if you want any tips on like effective goal setting or want a process to work with. But if you already have a way that you set goals for yourself, like use that, but use it to set goals for yourself. And you can even work with your PT or your coach if you're working with anyone to look at where am I in this moment and where do I want to be? And making sure that you're setting goals based on where you are now and not based on, where you were at the height of your sport. So, when you don't go through this process of goal setting, part of your brain will continue to gauge your feelings of success based on where you were at the peak of your sport versus where you were 2 or 4 or 6 months ago. And then, comparing that to where you are today. So the second thing that's really important to pay attention to is your narratives around your performance. Meaning, pay attention to the stories you are telling yourself about your performance as you go onto and come off of the ice. At times, you may think there is only one story to tell, but the truth is there are many stories that we could choose to tell about our experiences. And the story you choose to tell is important because it impacts your feelings of motivation, of self-belief, of confidence. It affects everything, the stories we create. And your brain believes you when you are talking to it. So make sure you're telling it something worth believing in. Additionally, I'll say if you do find that you're struggling with that process and are holding back because you're feeling nervous, you might consider working with someone like me, a certified mental performance consultant, or work with a sports psychologist to help support you through this specific time. And we can also put a link in the notes of the CMPC directory if you want to find a qualified practitioner to get some support from and work with.
Amazing. Well, Caitlyn, thank you so much for submitting this question. And we are rooting for you so hard in your return. We know that it's going to be a great success. Thanks, as always, Coach Carrie, for sharing your expertise with us. And a huge thank you to Jeremy Nessel for editing the Injured Athletes Club podcast. We are grateful too to Lever Movement, our sponsor, for making the show possible. Don't forget to click through the show notes to learn more about the Lever system and get that 20% discount. By the way, if you have a question about the mental side of injury and recovery that you want Coach Carrie to answer on an upcoming episode, there are a few different ways you can submit it. You can send us an email at hello@injuredathletesclub.com. You can visit our Facebook page and either DM us or leave us a comment, or join our Facebook group, which is also called the Injured Athletes Club. We have more resources for you, things that are free or low cost, webinar videos, athlete affirmations, an injury mini course led by Coach Carrie, and also some inspirational quote picks from Coach Carrie herself. All of that is on our Buy Me a Coffee site, and you can access that at buymeacoffee.com/rebound, or go to injuredathletesclub.com and click on more resources. That website, by the way, is where you can get links to everything we've mentioned in this show. And you can also get, again, links to that Facebook support group, the Injured Athletes Club. There's so many people there who are ready to help you out and who really just get it. Again, links to all of that on our website, injuredathletesclub.com. We'll see you there.